Hello. Welcome to the learning part of the Bible study. If you're watching this on YouTube, I would like you to breathe for like 3 breaths. Do like a, and then do it again. And then I want you to pause this video and click on, in the description there's like a link for a video for the quiet worship, and I would like you to listen to it and keep breathing. And then I would like you to come back when you are done with that video, and then continue this video to this point. But for those watching on live, hello. We are doing chapter 5 today. That feels like a bit of a milestone. So thanks to everyone for who's been just like sticking with me for like more than a month now. Logically, I know that I could just have no audience and be fine, but like emotionally, I really do need you guys to get me through this. So it really does mean a lot that you're still here. So thanks. We are also we also got a genealogy chapter today, which I'm low key grateful for because it makes for a short lesson, and I'm very tired. This Bible study kind of eats up like half my week, so I'm glad to have like a lower energy chapter this week. It's still gonna be interesting though. Genealogies are like they're kind of like the stats for nerds chapter. A lot of hidden nuggets though, if you know what to look for. And I'm going to be reading the New International Version translation this time, mostly because I didn't realize that I was using the NIV version until I had already copy pasted it into my sermon notes and was like, whatever. So I don't know, maybe I don't know, maybe this becomes a thing. We can like switch translations every like 5 chapters from now on. I personally don't care as long as it's not King James, because nobody understands what King James is saying. We'll see though. Let's just get into this chapter now. So we start off. First verse is, "This is the written account of Adam's line." Quick note just on this first line. This is probably not a literal genealogy, but we'll get into that later. There's also some who say Adam and Eve possibly had like 1,000,000 descendants, like if you're counting like kids, grandkids, and great grandkids, like all in their lifetimes. If they had lived that long and they were producing like as many kids as they possibly could during that time, and if that is the correct rate, then there were possibly like 7 million people at the time of the flood. So Adam and Eve really took the command to be fruitful and multiply seriously, assuming that is true. So moving on. When God created mankind, he made them in the likeness of God. He created them male and female and blessed them, and he named them mankind when they were created. So now some translators say he named them humanity to be more gender neutral, but whatever. You get the point either way. There's like a sun just like right where my mouth is. Anyways, so when it said that Seth was born in the image of Adam and Eve, with the exception of Jesus. Sorry, I totally skipped a line. When it said Seth was born in the image of Adam, it brings up this interesting point of separation, that we're actually all born in the image of Adam and Eve, with the exception of Jesus. And when I say image, I mean the way that we live our lives, what it looks like to follow God, both inside and out. And though Adam and Eve were made in the image of God, they were like physically perfect people at that time. And like for a bit they did follow God pretty perfectly, but they tainted that image with their choices. So now, as inheritors of Adam and Eve, we're still image bearers of God, obviously, just because that was the original intent. But it's a tainted image. It's tainted by Adam and Eve's choices. So I don't know. Maybe tainted is the wrong word. It's mixed with human flaws. It's God and us. And this is mostly bad because it's caused a broken world, but it also shows the love of God. How he lets us be our own people instead of these like little robots. We're not perfect image bearers, not yet. This life is our chance to decide for ourselves which image we lean most on. Do we lean on our human desires or our divine purpose? So something to keep in mind. So moving on. When Adam had lived 130 years, he had a son in his own likeness, in his own image, and he named him Seth. After Seth was born, Adam lived 800 years and he had other sons, 5 altogether. Adam lived a total of 930 years and then died. When Seth had lived 105 years, he became the father of Enosh. After he became the father of Enosh, Seth lived 807 years and had other sons and daughters. Altogether, Seth lived a total of 912 years, and then he died. When Enosh had lived 90 years, he became the father of Kenan, and he became the father. Oh, that's weird. It repeats. Enosh. After he became the father of Kenan, Enosh lived 815 years and had other sons and daughters. Altogether, Enosh lived a total of 905 years, and then he died. When Kenan had lived 70 years, he became the father of Mahalalel. After he became the father of Mahalalel, Kenan lived 840 years and had other sons and daughters. Altogether, Kenan lived a total of 910 years, and then he died. When Mahalalel had lived 65 years, he became the father of Jared. After he became the father of Jared, Mahalalel lived 830 years and had other sons and daughters. Altogether, Mahalalel lived a total of 895 years, and then he died. When Jared had lived 162 years, he became the father of Enoch. And after he became the father of Enoch, Jared lived 800 years and had other sons and daughters. Altogether, Jared lived a total of 962 years, and then he died. Sorry, I've been having a cough lately, so I might hack a lung up every now and then. So yeah, like I hinted before, there's a lot of speculation as to whether this is a literal genealogy or not. There's been a lean in the academic world that it's not, just because if it is literal, Adam and Eve's time would have been about 5,000 years before Jesus' time, but most of the other evidence suggests that they were at least 10,000 years before Jesus. There's also the fact that the word father could also be translated as ancestor. So, sorry. So like in the last video, when I was saying that generations are often skipped in these genealogies, and it was perhaps just like making note of like the biological and cultural legacies that they had, the important people within a lineage, that could apply here as well. As for the insanely old ages, some think that the biblical writers counted months as years, but that would mean Enoch had, as we'll later see, Enoch didn't live as long. Spoiler alert. Enoch would have had Methuselah. And I should have read this beforehand. He would have had his kid when he was 5, so that's probably not what happened. There's others who think there could be like a hidden meaning behind the ages, which, like a good chunk of those ages happen to be multiples of 3, 5, and 7. Though like what the meaning, like what the meaning of that is very widely disputed, and it tends to border on the side of conspiracy. The simplest explanation is that people just lived longer back then. They were still pretty close biologically to Adam and Eve, who, need I remind you, were also like biologically perfect, and they had access to the tree of life at one point. So maybe that just means longer lifespans. God did eventually give the command after the flood that people weren't allowed to live past the age of 120, and that seems to be the thing now. So maybe that's all it is. Overall, it is a bit of a riddle trying to decide how literally we're meant to take these numbers and generations, because if you take it literally, there's problems. If you take it symbolically, there's problems. If they are symbolic, what do they symbolize? I'm going to be including a link to a couple blog posts by my guy, Dr. Michael Heiser, where he shared some links going more into details on the genealogies as described by various scholars. I have elected not to summarize what the link said, mostly because it's over my head, and also because the links with the videos wouldn't actually play for me, which is a shame because they looked very useful. But maybe they'll work for you, and you can understand everything, and you can come back and give me a simplified synopsis. But either way, the main conclusion I was able to glean from it was that we mostly don't know for sure. And now we're moving on. So, next verse. When Enoch had lived 65 years, he became the father of Methuselah. That's what I'm going with. After he became the father of Methuselah, Enoch walked faithfully with God 300 years and had other sons and daughters. Altogether, Enoch lived a total of 365 years. Enoch walked faithfully with God. Then he was no more, because God took him away. So, many speculate that Enoch was the only one in this genealogy that didn't technically die. God liked him so much that he just skipped that part and just went straight to heaven. But please know, it's not because he was perfect. He didn't do everything perfectly. Only Jesus can do that. He got a fast pass. He got a fast pass. He got a fast pass because he had faith. He walked faithfully. His main priority was following God and trusting whatever guidance God gave, and God digs that. It's actually the only way we can please God. There's nothing else that we can really give him. There's no money or material goods or success in his name or even good deeds. It's all empty without that faith. Something that we should always keep in mind. Some think also that Enoch was actually a prophet, since Methuselah's name means when he is dead, come back. looking at how the verses are phrased, it seems that Enoch came to faith after his son was born. Possibly, this is my own speculation, his son's birth gave him a vision of the birth, death, and resurrection of the son, and he named his kid after it thusly. Maybe. I don't know. It's a possibility. It doesn't really matter either way. we're moving on now. So next verse. When Methuselah had lived 187 years, he became the father of Lamech. And after he became the father of Lamech, Methuselah lived 782 years and had other sons and daughters. By the way, this Lamech is different from the Lamech of the other chapter. So I just want to make sure that's clear. The last Lamech came from Cain, and this one came from Seth. That's always something that like kind of made me feel like it's not like a super like this is definitely real, but like I always felt like, you know, when you have repetitive names, that kind of proves a little bit that the Bible exists. It's not like just a work of fiction, because like there's like it's only in real life where you get like a bunch of like the same names, you know. Like Jesus's disciples, I think, had like 3 Simons or Peters. It was one of those, but either way, it is. It's also very interesting to see the parallelisms between these like 2 lines of like Seth and Cain. You know, Cain's Lamech was prideful in a bad way, and he indulged himself a bit much. Seth's Lamech, he reflects more of like an awareness that things are bad, and he has more of like this humbling hope that future generations will ease this human pain. There's no like clear verse noting Seth's Lamech as having faith in God. He at least recognizes that God is a thing, but like coming from like such a faith-driven line, I think it could be assumed that he was a man of faith, but it's hard to say. You know, there's lots of like very faithful parents that have rebellious kids, and vice versa. And he actually died like right before the flood, so who knows? Maybe. He probably was just because he was part of Seth's line, but hard to say. So altogether, Methuselah lived a total of 969 years, and then he died. So Methuselah actually lived the longest out of all these guys, possibly to make up for his dad's ascent to heaven, and maybe also to carry on his dad's work for prophecy on earth. God wanted him to be alive like the longest in order to give humanity ample time to repent before sending the flood. Probably. I don't know, that's just what the commentary says. So, moving on. When Lamech had lived 182 years, he had a son, and he named him Noah. I wonder who Noah is. And he said, "He will comfort us in the labor and painful toil of our hands caused by the ground the Lord has cursed." But fun fact, Noah actually sounds like the Hebrew word for comfort, which is Noach. So it's like a kind of sound at the end of it, I think. I'm guessing, because that's how it's spelled. So after Noah was born, Lamech lived 595 years and had no other sons and daughters. Altogether, Lamech lived a total of 777 years, and then he died. So after Noah was 500 years old, he became the father of Shem, Ham, and Japheth. So, another quick note before we end. If the genealogies are literal, Seth died when Noah was 14. So it's possible Noah knew the first generation after Adam and Eve, that he was like directly descended from. probably every name here, like listed here, was the name of like a truly great and faithful men. But as the passage keeps repeating, they all died. So no matter their accomplishments or even levels of faith, they all returned to dust, except maybe Enoch, but who knows? They all eventually stopped being on earth. And their legacies along with it eventually. History will forget you eventually. Only Jesus is able to live on forever. Only his legacy is eternal. It is him we should be trying to follow, because his life, his legacy is the only one that matters. It's the only way for us to become eternal as well, by following him, following his path. And it's the only way to avoid death. And that, my friends, is the end of this teaching. There's one person watching. I'm not sure who it is. I'm guessing it's my mother though, but who knows. But we're gonna open it up for questions, comments, or prayer requests. If let me go through the list real quick. So far we have those two women that still have like a lot of physical ailments going on. I got my whole beef with the church right now. My dad needs marriage counseling or something. And I have like my family who has a stomach flu going around, and my mom who needs like she wants to find a church, and like just friends in general. So if any of these things do not apply to you anymore, or if they did apply to you, now they don't, let me know so we can thank God for answering your prayers. But otherwise, I'm just going to pray for those things. Otherwise, I'm still kind of going back and forth on the church thing, so I'm gonna keep praying for that too. So yeah, anyone who wants to, add to what I was saying, they have any questions about it, or any prayer requests, either like thanking God for something or like asking him for something, let me know, and I'm gonna play some music while we wait for you to do that. Okay, I had to unplug the mic first. I got a new sign. Line it up right. we are back now. I should probably plug the mic back in so you can hear me slightly better, but just slightly. Hello. So nobody had anything to, I'm just gonna hold it. Nobody had anything to add in the comments. No prayer requests or anything, so I'm just gonna do a closing prayer and get out of here. So here we go. I just have to die first. Okay. Dear God, please help heal those two women who have just been really going through it. One of them seems to be getting a lot better, but you know, there's still a lot of stress in her life. So, you know, just stay with both of them. Try to help them through that. I also would like to pray for my dad, who also seems to be going through some stuff, mostly with his marriage. And I just, you know, whatever guidance is needed on that, just give that guidance, give that healingness, you know, help them to fix whatever it is that needs to be fixed, and let go whatever needs to be let go. I also pray for my family in Oregon, who is possibly still getting through a stomach flu. They might be okay now, but just in case, help them manage the symptoms and keep it from getting worse, you know, help them feel your comfort while they're going through that. I also pray for my mom, who has been looking for a home church and, you know, just trying to get settled into a new place. Just help her to do that, you know, give her the guidance needed to find a good one that isn't gonna like cause too much drama, because nobody likes a church that causes drama. So just be with them for that. I'd also like to pray for myself. I have been noticing I'm still pretty angry, mostly at the church, but I've noticed it's been starting to seep into like other aspects of my life, and maybe that's also because I've just been like kind of go for a while. I'm not resting as well as I should, perhaps. So just help me to like know how to like put the brakes on a little bit. Help me to manage this grief that I'm going through and keep it from like affecting the rest of my life, even though it kind of it's kind of unavoidable, you know. Just try to keep the after effects or whatever, the collateral damage down. And I guess I just pray for the church that they just do better, because they suck. You know. But you know, they've kind of always sucked, you know, in their own way throughout history. So I guess really I just pray for the end of the world, because that's the only time that the church is not gonna suck, because you're gonna be the one directly leading it. You know, there's gonna be no room for error, and it's gonna be great. Until then, thank you for this time together. I just pray that everyone kind of was able to get something from it, and I didn't like misspeak. I think I misspoke a couple times, but that's okay. I think they understood what I was saying. Okay, I'm gonna end the prayer. Okay, good. Goodbye, God. Okay, amen. Bye. All right. So like I said before, I have to do the worship song separate for copyright reasons. So if you'd like, just stick around and listen to the loud worship song, you know, to something fun to end the evening with. Then do so, you know. Just kind of stick around and wait for the video to pop up. Let me know also if that's kind of working, like how that works for you guys, because I don't know, like maybe I need to wait a little bit longer between each video if it's harder for you to get it. Anyways, I'm gonna end the video now. Bye.